I have to say, we love doing LSD.
Yeah, I would say we both do it 5, maybe 6 times a week.
It's actually great for the morning when you're feeling all sleepy. It wakes you up to feelings of euphoria and synesthesia.
LSD. It's great, but we aren't talking about that type of LSD today. We're talking about long, slow distance running.
Long, slow distance running gives you all those feelings and more. And later we'll explain why we call it the runner's high.
Well, when someone thinks of long, slow distance running, they generally think of the marathon.
However, many people don't know where the idea of the race came from. It actually comes from a Greek myth. There's this guy called Phidippides, a Greek messenger, and he ran from the town of Marathon to Athens to announce that the Persians had been defeated in a war.
It just so happened that the distance he ran was 26 miles, hence the 26 miles of a marathon. But what happened in the end was after he delivered his message, he collapsed and died.
Phidippides died after 26 miles, but what we have found, actually in a book called Born to Run by Christopher McDougall, are these ancient people that can run up to 150 to 200 miles at a time, which even for Lake Highland's fastest runner is quite challenging.
These ancient people are called the Rara Murray, which translates to the running people. They are native to Mexico and live in the higher mountainous regions of the Copper Canyon.
However, what's amazing about these people, and what Christopher McDougall focuses on, is that their descendants are still living to this day. In 2006, there were around 70,000 of their people still living in their regions. That's remarkable because you don't see Aztecs walking around sipping tequila, nor do you see Mayans anywhere.
The Aztecs, Mayans, and the Rara Murray all existed at the same time, though. How could Rara Murray survive, but the great Aztecs and Mayans couldn't?
Running.
You see, when the Aztecs and Mayans fought back against invaders, the Rara Murray ran from them and kept running and running.
They ran for their life and for their water. Running was the most significant part of their existence and the reason they're still here today.
But what's ironic is that running is natural for all human beings. In fact, these two scientists at Harvard University's Department of Anthropology and Organismic Evolution, smart people, Daniel Lieberman and Dennis Bramble, wrote an article titled The Evolution of Marathon Running. And in it, they describe the ways humans are designed to run. One way is that we out of all the animals in the world, are one of the best at regulating our own body temperatures and when running. Cheetahs and other animals, although they run much faster, can't run long distances because their temperature spikes too high.
It's, it's in our physical being and our mental instincts. Cavemen were scared of everything. They were the biggest babies of the jungle. Humans couldn't fight to hunt animals. Not even Hulk Hogan could take on a small rabid monkey. They would have to run and run and run until they outlasted an animal. And that's how early humans hunted, and the Rara Murray used this technique and applied it to their entire lives.
They also took advantage of an unexpected effect of running, keeping a family-based structure. They always stuck together because they always would run together. In fact, young ones to the oldest members would join in on these runs for food, which made sense. The old ones had the most knowledge, and the younger ones had the speed.
The Rara Murray loved running, but the problem in our culture is now more than ever people are harking over the displeasurement of running. Not gonna lie, it's painful. We've been talking about pain a lot lately in psychology, and what we learned is that pain is 100% mental. I'm gonna throw a word out at you guys, which you should all know if you were paying attention in psychology. The word is multisensory integration. If you know it, raise your hand and tell us.
Well, basically, it's the study of how our brains integrate all the information we pick up from our senses. Think about sight. So everything comes in through our cornea and then pupils, through the lens and then into the retina, and then finally to the brain so you can see. Well, integration explains how when you see something, it integrates emotions, happy and sad and everything, into what we are seeing.
This is the same for all our senses, including touch. So when we touch something, it's our brains that are telling us, ouch, this is hot, or oh, this feels good. In effect, we can decide what's painful and what's not because we can integrate our emotions and mental feelings with what we are physically feeling.
For example, I have learned to associate running and races with positive things like the dinner afterwards. In effect, I have learned to turn off pain when I race and think of other things.
A great example of how pain can be seen as 100% mental is by talking about the rubber hand illusion.
An article on this website called News Scientist describes the experiment. Basically, the tester places a fake rubber hand on a box, which covers your real hand, and both hands resemble each other.
The tester tricks the person's brain by touching the rubber hand with feathers and scratches, eventually seen as though the person begins to feel the sensations as if the rubber hand is now his hand.
This phenomenon is
It's
so
4
valid
o'clock.
that when the tester brings out a mallet to hit the rubber hand and hits it, the person screams. Their heart rate rises and begins to sweat as if he was actually hit by the mallet.
Pain is there even if your limbs don't exist, which also explains the phantom limb syndrome many amputees have.
These people still feel the pain in their arms, as vivid as if they had their limbs before.
The brain just thinks there are. In fact, the way doctors have treated this is by putting the other hand in a box with a mirror on one side, so the reflection looks like the opposite arm, and the brain can be tricked into feeling the tension release, and the pain eventually subsides.
So, pain is mental, but pain is good. Don't get us wrong. We need pain to live. The cool thing about running is that pain subsides when we release endorphins, again, a mental process that act as pain relievers.
These endorphins interact with receptors in your brain that reduce your perception of pain. Endorphins also trigger a positive feeling in the body similar to that of morphine, which is what we call the runner's high.
Studies have shown, medicine.net actually wrote an article on this. The more release of these natural pain relievers, the less stressful you feel and the happier you are generally throughout the day. A direct cite from their article says, quote unquote, endorphins interact with the opiate receptors in the brain to reduce our perception of pain and act similarly to drugs such as morphine and codeine. In addition to decreased feelings of pain, secretion of endorphins leads to feelings of euphoria, modulation of appetite, release of sex hormones, and enhancement of the immune response. With high endorphin levels, we feel less pain and fewer negative effects of stress.
Men's Health talks about this phenomena in a particular case of a man named Richard Haig. Haig retired at the age of 38 from one of the top security firms in the nation. Financially, he was set for life. However, he became increasingly bored.
The article goes on to explain that Haig started to enjoy running as a pastime, entering 2-mile races every so often. Eventually, he was able to run a 63-mile charity race. Not only did his fitness improve, but he also felt better.
All of a sudden, Haig went back to work as the CEO of his company. After working for so long and then being retired for so long, he went back to work because all of a sudden his life became much more livelier with running. With running came pain, and with pain came endorphins and other chemicals, and with that came an all-around greater life.
I could see this in my own 4-year case with study we did with Mr. Chiok. When he doesn't run, I have noticed a clear change in the way he acts. He is more moody and cranky, not a good person to be around just because he didn't get his run in. Maybe he's addicted to LSD.
Science backs this happy phenomenon up. Neurological studies have shown an immense increase in brain activity after a run. Simply stated, it wakes your brain up. This helps prove the fact that people that run before a day's work increase the efficiency of what they're doing, no matter what it is.
Edward Hallowell, MD, a Harvard-trained psychiatrist, calls running a wonder drug for the brain.
Which is so fitting for our LSD presentation.
He has found that running, more than Adderall and any other ADHD medications, cure poor mental focus and anxiety. So running before the day of a test is the best way to prepare. I do it all the time.
See how we just solved all the world's problems? For hunger, run for your food. For existence, run away. For sticking together, run together. For health, running in general. For war, just have a race. I promise the world would be better if we were all high doing LSD.
So come get high with me and Hasan one day before school. I guarantee you'll love it.
I hope you enjoyed the talk. Enjoy the rest of Noel. Thank you.